Okay, this week I'll be talking about rice. So for the purposes of this presentation, I'll be talking about white rice, not whole grain brown rice. So there's a debate on where rice originated. Experts are narrowing it down to Southeast Asia versus South Central China. And experts are debating whether or not they should place its origin roots in where it was cultivated, as in domesticated and purposely and intentionally grown, versus where it was growing wild. That's more of a circumstantial gathering method. And an interesting fact is that rice has fed the most people over the longest period of time than any other crop. So rice has fed more people than corn, wheat, than any other crop put together. 90% of our world's rice comes from Asia. So China, Indonesia, India, Bangladesh sort of have a monopoly over the rice industry. So here we have an origin map. So it originated in China or Southeast Asia, like we said earlier. And then from there, it moved to Sri Lanka, to India, to Greece, Europe, North Africa, Portugal, and Central America. So you can see it caught on fast and many places were able to grow it. So for cultural ties, like we said, rice originated in Asia, so it has a strong aspect to many Asian countries due to its origins. And like I said, it's the main production hub of rice, so it's kind of always been around. And then politically, there's the monopoly on rice that Asia has from producing 90% of the rice. And right now they have tariffs and subsidy taxes on rice exports. And they're talking about moving into a free trade, but that would hurt many small Asian countries that do produce rice, because that is the tariffs and subsidies are one of their main sources of income. And then family and social implications. Rice plays an important role in the dynamic of families and social interactions because it's such a key ingredient that they use. So many have, family recipes that they have going, and they feel a sense of like community. And then studies have shown that tighter norms and sense of community are in place in communities where rice is grown. So for nutrient breakdown, one serving of rice is 100 grams uncooked, and that will give you about 130 calories. It offers up 2.69 grams of protein, 0.2 grams of fat, 0.4 grams of fiber, and 28 carbohydrates. So you can see here, it's not very calorie dense, but it is very dense in carbs. There's some key vitamins in rice as well: 43 milligrams of phosphorus, 12 grams of magnesium, and 35 grams of potassium. So rice's relationship to disease: diabetes has been shown to be linked to rice consumption in Japan in women, so not in men. So there's been a link between large amounts of rice consumption and then women in Japan developing type 2 diabetes. That study did not show a link between men and type 2 diabetes with rice consumption, so that's interesting and ongoing. Rice can promote gut health because it gives a healthy dose of soluble fiber, and soluble fiber, it's easier for your body to digest it, and it can also reduce inflammation in your digestive system tract. And then for those with celiac disease, rice is great because it's gluten-free, and it can be a great replacement for grains, which is what we need in our diet, and it's very filling as well. So the seasonality of rice, it's a 190-day growing period, and it can be harvested within a 30-day window of it becoming mature. So in March, they go in and they get the fields ready, they flood the fields, they do their fertilization work, and then in July, they plant the crop, and by November, it is matured and ready to be harvested. And then field drainage is when they go through and they drain the field, because rice needs to have sort of a marshy agricultural base to grow its best crop. Also crop vitality. So earlier we talked about how rice originated in Asia and then it moved to all those countries, and all those countries have very different agriculture. All those countries have very different agricultural production, weather, and soil types, but rice is an incredibly adaptive crop and it can survive in extreme conditions such as the desert, marshes, etc. But it does show the best yields in marsh environments, hence the drainage in the flooded field. So preparation, rice can be prepared in a variety of ways. Today we see the boil and bag rice. It takes 3 minutes. There's rice cookers on the market. You can fry your rice, steam your rice. There's so many ways you can cook it. Traditionally though, it is prepared with a 2-to-1 ratio of water to rice. So let's say 2 cups of water, 1 cup of rice. You bring that to a simmer. You add a pinch of salt. If you're gonna add anything else, you typically add it there, and then you steam it. You keep it at a slow boil for a while, and then you take it out when it's to your liking. For my tasting experience, I got to go to Kabuki, and I've personally never been there, and I was really glad that I got to go and experience it with a friend. I got a spicy tuna roll, and you can see the rice is a key component of that, and I'm definitely excited to go back again. I thought it was really good. So my cultural perspective in terms of rice consumption. So I live in the US and we don't depend on rice as much as cultures in Asia do. Rice is incorporated into my diet, but not in a substantial way. And I think that if I grew up in a nation that produces as much rice as they do, such as China or India, I probably would have eaten rice with almost every meal. And not to say that rice isn't seen here in the US, but we don't place such a heavy emphasis on it or have a sense of identity or, rice growing communities here in the US. So I got to enjoy their culture, and I'm so glad to experience that culture when I'm able to at a restaurant. And here are my sources.